Morning students, I welcome every one of you for this online session. In today's class we are going to see about the optical properties of materials. Materials are important in our everyday life because of their versatile structural properties. These materials possess many properties such as thermal properties, magnetic properties, and electrical and electronic properties as well as optical properties. In this video, we are going to see or study only about the optical properties of the engineering of materials, which find out many applications in domestic, medicine, astronomy, manufacturing units, etc. In order to study about the optical property of a material, we need to study or analyze the interaction of the material with electromagnetic radiation. Electromagnetic radiation means only the visible spectrum we are going to consider. See here, the visible spectrum has been given the wavelength range as 0.39 to 0.77 micrometer, that is 4000 angstrom to 7000 angstrom is the wavelength range for the visible radiation, and we can calculate the wavelength of each wave, each light, each photon using this formula. This E gives us h nu, E is equal to h nu, and this again can be written as h into c by lambda, and these photons we are going to consider here as the light waves, which can behave as waves as well as particles. So I have given the electromagnetic radiation diagram. You see here, this is the wavelength range of the visible light. Let us study about the interaction of light with materials. Interaction of light with the electronic or crystal structure of a material leads to a number of phenomena. The phenomena in the case, we have studied many phenomena, light phenomena such as reflection, absorption, transmission, refraction, etc. In order to find out the total intensity of the incident light striking on a particular surface, we have considered we need to sum up the absorbed intensity, reflected intensity, and the transmitted intensity. The final resultant value gives us the total intensity of the incident light we have used for irradiation. Then in the case of optical materials, we can classify them into three types based on their interaction with the visible light. First type is called as transparent materials. These materials are capable of transmitting light with relatively little absorption and reflection. That is, we can see through them. The second type is translucent material, and that light is transmitted diffusively. That is, the objects are not clearly distinguishable when viewed through. The third type is called as opaque material, and they are impervious to the transmission of the visible light. That is, we cannot see the objects on the other side of the material. These materials, they actually absorb all the energy from the light photons. The way of interaction of light with matter uh, is through scattering also. There are many types of scattering. We are going to see about three types of scattering here in this slides. The first type is Rayleigh scattering. Here, the photon interacts with the electron and it is deflected without any change in the energy. Whatever the wavelength of incident radiation we use here will come out as outcome on the other side. This is significant for high atomic number atoms and low photon energies. For example, blue color in the visible light gets scattered more than other colors in the visible spectrum. So, the sky appears blue for us. So this is the case of Rayleigh scattering, and it is proportional to, scattering power is proportional to 1 by lambda power 4. The second type of scattering is Tyndall effect. Here, the scattering occurs from the particles which are very much bigger when compared to the wavelength of light we use for irradiation. Then the third type of scattering is Compton scattering. Compton scattering here, the X-ray when it is incident upon the electron of an atom, the part of X-ray is scattered. Part of energy is scattered as photon, and the electron it acquires or it recoils with some energy and moves from its place. So this is significant only for high atomic number atoms and low photon energies. And the fourth one is photoelectric effect. When a metal surface is irradiated with the incident light or visible light, the electrons are released or rejected from the material. This is called as photoelectric effect. This is also interaction of radiation with the matter. Next we shall see about carrier generation and recombination. That is generation of charge carriers. Electron hole pairs is called as carrier generation, and recombination means the electron and hole pairs when they recombine, they will be liberated as the photon with some energy, and this is called as annihilation. First, we shall see about carrier generation. The first type or first process is photo generation. That is, in the presence of photon, the electron hole pairs are created. So that is photo generation. Photon of energy h nu is given as input to this semiconductor. The electron present in the valence band, it absorbs this photon of energy h nu and it goes to the upper conduction band by absorbing this h nu. So we are getting an electron as well as a hole, and these two get paired, and this is called as electron hole pair, and this is one type of carrier generation. The next one is phonon generation, and this phonon means quantization of lattice vibrations is otherwise called as phonons. Actually here when we increase the temperature given to a particular semiconductor, the electrons they vibrate about their mean positions, and the electrons when they vibrate, the vibrations are liberated as heat waves, and these are otherwise called as phonons. Or so in some way the electrons they are hit out or striken out from this atom, they come out with the generation of an electron here, and a hole will be generated in the place of a hole on the place of the electron. So altogether we get a electron hole pair, and this is because of the liberation of some types of waves called as lattice waves called as phonons. Then third one is impact ionization. Impact ionization means a particular photon of frequency h nu, it makes a collision on the free electron, and this free electron it absorbs this energy and it hits a covalent bond. It may be on a covalent bond, two electrons are bound together, and when this electron when it hits a electron in the covalent bond, it strikes that electron, and that electron it comes out with the liberation with the creation of another one electron, and on the place of the electron we have a hole. So input electron plus output electron, so altogether we'll have two electrons as output. And this electron number or its count it increases in as 2 power n, and this is otherwise called as avalanche generation of carriers, and this takes place only in the presence of electric field, or whenever we keep the semiconductor in the presence of electric field, this type of generation avalanche generation of charge carriers occurs, and this is called as impact ionization. Then we should see about the recombination of charge carriers. The first one is direct recombination or radiative recombination. The electron present in the conduction band, it comes down to the valence band with the liberation of, and it combines with the hole with the liberation of photon of energy equal to h nu. This is radiative recombination. It's a direct method. Then second one is Shockley Reed Hall recombination. There is an intermediate state in between this bottom of the conduction band and the top of the valence band. And in this state, what happens? The electron, it makes a transition actually to the lower state, but it cannot come to this state. It stays in the intermediate state. It liberates an energy, and that energy is in the form of heat waves, and also the electron for then after liberating this energy, it comes to this state. After this, when it comes to the lower state, it combines with the hole present here, and it liberates an energy equal to h nu, and this is the photon. Energy of the photon is equal to h nu. So these two recombine to give out an energy of a photon. Third one is the Auger recombination. Initially, the electron is present in the upper energy state. It comes to the lower energy state. It combines with the hole, and it releases a photon of energy equal to h nu. And this photon, it is given as input to the electron present in the upper energy state. From this state, this electron is excited to the higher energy levels, and from here it liberates a heat wave, and it comes down to the conduction band. Again this process continues, and this is called as Auger recombination. Again and again this cycle is repeated with the liberation of photon of energy equal to h nu. So, and this electron is otherwise called as Auger electron. With this, I stop this session. The remaining we shall see in the next sessions. Thank you, students.